And today we are talking all about how you do not need 20% down to buy a property. So, a lot of people think they need to save for years and years and years to be able to buy real estate, only to find out that the deal might not even cash flow, especially with today's rates. And we're here to break that news that you don't need 20% down to buy a rental property. It could be your next or it could be your first, but creative finance strategies work, especially now in 2025. Not only are we doing deals ourselves, but a ton of our community members are too. And so we are coming live weekly. So I'm hoping this is streaming.
It's working.
Yay, look at us go. So that's a win, guys. We always talk about messy, massive action. And so no matter where you are in your real estate investing journey, this one is for you. So when we first got started back in 2008, the market was nutty. I was already living in a house that somehow I was approved for, I don't know, like $300,000 house. Goodness, I didn't buy that. I had a teacher salary. So we're talking, I was getting paid peanuts. I'm going into debt paying for my master's degree. And fortunately, I was smart with my finances and I bought a reasonably priced house in the city of Rochester, New York. Shout out. And I was actually house hacking back then. So that is one method where if you are in a situation where you're living in a house and man, that mortgage payment is starting to creep and lifestyle and things are getting expensive, house hack. You can always rent out a room in your house that you're living in and charge your roommates. I didn't know it had a name back then. I just asked a friend, hey, friend, you want to help me pay my mortgage? You split it with me. And so that was one way I got into real estate investing without even realizing it. And then fast forward, I meet this handsome fella in 2008, and he decides that we are going to start building our rental portfolio. Didn't know it at the time. So back then, we did the method I just talked about. We had to save a ton of money to put down or to even buy an old junker. And we realized that is just some ways not sustainable. It's not something that you can really scale with.
Well, and that's a challenge for so many people that reach out. They're like, Joe or Jen, I'm putting down 20%. You're looking at today's interest rates, and I know the Feds just dropped the rates. Banks already kind of did that before that, but I mean, rates are still in the sixes. So when you're putting down 20%, paying these taxes and interest and insurance, and then at that rate, I mean, it's just almost impossible to cash flow. Even with 20% down, a lot of people are running into a challenge. I had somebody reach out. He bought a property. He put down 20%. I said, oh my gosh, that's a big down payment in North Carolina. You got to be making good money. He's like, no, I'm losing $300 per month.
Mm,
And how much money did you come up with? It's like $60,000 plus closing costs.
yeah, that's a lot.
I'm like, you came up with $60,000 in plus closing costs just to lose $300 a month. Who sold you on that? And then he bought his second one where it was almost the same numbers. So, after we sat down and did the math, he put up about 130 something thousand total, and he's losing about $500 a month. And because there's negative cash flow at today's rate. So even when you're coming up with 20%, it's still tough to find a win. Plus, trying to scale your business and your portfolio with these huge down payments. This is one of the biggest reasons why investors are failing or just not scaling to the level they want to, because how long does it take you to save 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 or sometimes more just to maybe make 100, 200, $300 a month, or even worse, you're not. It's causing a dilemma all across the country. And I'm having more people ask us, how are you guys scaling your portfolio? Let's create a finance.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part about it is there's no banks. I'm not having to go through that process. I got great credit, but I don't need it. Even job, 2 years on the job, and income and debt to ratio, DTIs. You start looking at all these things and you got to get an appraisal. You have to deal with agents a lot of times. All of these things and big down payments, it's literally making people not able to buy deals right now. And I'm going to tell you, back in 2008, when Jen and I met, the market was crashing.
Yeah.
Back in 2009 and 10 and 11 and 12, it took 5 years for the market to finally bottom out. That was 5 years where a lot of investors were just not buying deals. And I got to tell you, when everybody was fearful, that's when you and I were buying.
Mm-hmm.
And really in Rochester,
And
New
if
York.
we knew the methods now that we know, oh yeah, you can't even go there. But like I didn't even realize, because when I purchased my house, it was on the MLS. It was listed with a realtor. And so when we discovered creative financing, we realized that there's this whole world of untapped inventory of homeowners who don't want to list it, or maybe they've tried listing it at this point, it's not working, and so there are other alternatives. And that has really been the key for us, is all of these off market properties that sellers are, waiting for people to come and ask them, can I buy your house?
Well, if it's okay, I'll talk about Melissa.
Yeah.
I literally just got off the phone with her.
I know.
She's got a house in Newport Richey, which is just outside of Tampa. The sweetest lady in the world. She's dealing with cancer.
Yeah.
She needs to move closer to the Moffitt Center because it's too far of a drive. She's retired law enforcement out of California, moved here, and she's like, I need to sell this house. We've already put it on the market. It's not selling. It's taken off the market now. So she's at a point where she needs to get rid of this thing. She owes $200,000 on it. She's willing to sell it for $200,000. It's sharing on mine, not yours for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm on yours.
Oh, maybe it stopped. I don't know, but we're here.
Okay.
Whoever you are watching, thank you. But so she needs to sell her house. She's in a jam. It's not selling in the market. She needs to move. They already found the apartment they want to move to. She's willing to sell it to us for what she owes on it, which is $200,000. But her challenge is nobody's even buying it at that. If she lists it on the market for that number, she still has to pay closing costs, real estate commissions. And even at that number, it's so slow right now, nothing is working. So this poor lady's frustrated and she's in a jam. So after I talked to her and she says, yeah, her interest rate is 3.8%. So to us, I was like, hey, we can buy it. We could keep the loan in your name, but we're going to be able to do this. We'll cover all of the closing costs. Because she's like, well, one of my questions are, how much money do me and my husband have to come up with? Because we don't have a lot of money.
I heard her ask that, yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely not a dime.
What did she say? I walked in when you said that.
Oh, she was so happy. She's like, well, that's going to make it easy. I'm like, yeah, we'll pay for all of the closing costs, all of the fees. Mm-hmm. There's no commissions because we're not agents. We're the buyers. Like, these are conversations we're having with sellers.
She sounded so relieved to hear, because I heard her say something like, I had no idea that there were other options, that I really thought like we were stuck, or like it is what it is. But, I'm just learning about some of these creative alternatives. So it's going to take her a moment to kind of digest it all. But again, it's how you present it. And I see that this is a huge problem in this real estate industry, of people kind of like shoving down everyone's throats, like exactly how what it looks like, I'm going to take over, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And instead of just leading them down the path of answering your questions, what are their concerns, what's happening, and really be able to explain things really thoroughly. And I think that's important.
Well, the key is it too with her is she's never heard of this before. So shout out Lexi, because Lexi did such a good job explaining so much of this to her on the phone. She says, Joe, this sounds like a good one. You need to get on the phone with Melissa. So I get on the phone with her. She's like, Lexi was great. Have more questions, which is great. Because after the end of the call, and this call was 50 minutes.
Yeah, I know. You were on there for a while.
And you know me, I usually don't talk on the phone that long. But after 50 minutes of talking on the phone with her, she's at the point where this sounds good. This sounds good for me. This sounds good for my husband. We want to be able to do this. What are the next steps? Her payment is $1,500 a month.
Really?
Yeah. Her property rents. Well, she's got a low rate.
Yeah, I know. That's unheard of.
She says it rents for in the low twos to probably 2,200.
She doesn't want to be a landlord.
That's what I asked her. She's like, I do not want to be a landlord. She's like, the house doesn't need any work. We've already done all of the little things to it. But she's like, I don't want to be a landlord and have to come there and take care of the lawn, or this breaks and that breaks. She's like, I thought about renting it because it didn't sell and I didn't know what other options I had, but she's had it with this place. So, and it's a beautiful house. It legitimately needs nothing. So she can't wait for us to come there.
Aww.
She can't wait for us to meet her. But it was one of these things where I have so many people say, Joe, how do you convince the seller? And I'll tell you what, we don't. And this is one of the big things. It's a big misconception of how do we convince sellers to do this. I'll tell you what we do is we work with motivated sellers. We work with motivated sellers who are in a situation. So we've actually made a scale of 1 to 10. 0 or 1, they're not motivated at all, right? They're probably even irritated that you're bothering them, even though they're trying to sell you a house. The 10 are the ones like Melissa, where her house has already been in the market, hasn't sold, moving soon, doesn't want to be a landlord, running out of options, needs to be closer to her hospital because she's ways away. And so she doesn't know what else to do. Is she a high motivation? Yeah, she's probably a 8, 9, or 10. Does she have to move? No, but it's a lot for her, right? She's not behind on payments. They're not financially struggling, but making that payment while moving, they couldn't do it. So once again, making sure you're dealing with motivated sellers. These are where the deals come from. I think of when we were on our coaching call. I was in a 3-hour coaching call with our community on Monday, 2 days ago. And during that call, we had one of our clients, Luke, shout out Luke. He just posted in a Facebook group. Guys saw it, reached out to Luke. They started chatting on Messenger, asked a couple questions, found out, yes, I got to get Joe on the call with this guy because he was a motivated seller. House is in Indiana. Absolutely beautiful. 3,000 square feet. Bedrooms, bathrooms, doesn't need a thing. Got a gorgeous pull-out back, but he's getting transferred for the military to Connecticut. And he's
that's really coming up a lot lately.
It is. Yeah. And once again, he's in the situation where he can't sell it, has put it on the market, has really no equity, owes $314, listed at $325, didn't sell it. Another one got a really, really low interest rate on it. And once we explained that we could buy it, but the loan will stay in place, he was like, because I asked him, like, what are you going to do? He's like, well, he was going to get an apartment in Connecticut by himself while leaving his wife and kids back in Indiana, praying this house would eventually get sold. After being in the market for 6 months and it didn't, he was like, we're just running out of options. I can't imagine being away for 6 months without seeing you guys and things like that. It'd be hard. So once we explained that we could do it, by the end of the call, he was like, so what's the next move? How can I do this? Motivated seller. I asked our group, our community, because I was doing this call live in front of our training class that day. There's probably 15, 16 of us in there. But I'm on the phone with the seller. I typed in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rank the seller? And everybody was 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Motivated seller. That's how the deals come. So no big down payment. He says, can you give me $2,000 to help with the U-Haul truck? So gorgeous house, $2,000 down, $300,000 home, guys. Like that's where you're going to find the deals. And it still cash flows because the rate was 3-point-something%. The property cash flows. So when you're looking at deals right now, Burr is not working. Forget about it. Don't even get me on that. If you're going to go to the bank and put down 20% and go pay 6-7% and expect a cash flow, that ain't working.
And raising private money is a whole beast in and of itself. And so that's something else that, I feel like it's a hot topic. People jump into it, but there's a lot of work that goes into doing that. And, there's still work with creative, but it's less money that you have to come up with. Again, like not the 20%, it's solving someone's problems. And I feel like when you remove money out of the equation and you truly are just like looking at the people that you're trying to help, like that's usually where opportunity can lie too. It's like, how can I help this man be able to be with his family, to go relocate? It's not his choice. It's not something he's choosing. And then now you've got somebody with cancer. Like these are real life stories that I feel like nobody in the industry really talks about enough. And, for me being a teacher, obviously, like I loved helping people and, you and your jobs, like you've always just been helpful to other people. And I feel like that is something that doesn't go unnoticed here. I don't think it's talked about enough, but there are real situations with real people that like out of their control. And so if you could help them, and then also, yes, like you can get paid to help them.
And that's true. And a lot of times, like we're really trying to get to the root of the problem. Many times I'm almost trying to talk them out of doing business with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't you list it with an agent? Why don't you try? And many times they've already tried that and it's not working. And what's happening is they're running out of options. And as the market is going soft, some areas, there's slight small pockets. Maybe it's still going up. Many pockets, it's kind of going flat. Inventory's piling up. Some places like Florida, prices are already dropping. Texas, prices are already dropping. Colorado, Nevada, prices in a lot of these places are already going down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see these situations and you're like, well, should I invest there? Well, my thought of is many people aren't. Many people aren't even buying there right now. It's causing a wave of motivated sellers. But my question to you is if you're able to pick up cash flowing assets with very little cash down, bring in you monthly paychecks. And these aren't junkers. These are the beautiful houses in beautiful neighborhoods that people desire. They want to get their kids into a great school district, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cash flowing and you're beating the banks by still getting 2 and 3% rates, I will take every one of those deals. And if you have a surplus of those deals, I will buy them from you and pay you a finder's fee, because we're looking to buy a lot. Because back in 2008, 9, and 10, and we're not having that now, but nobody knows what it is, but it's definitely some things happening. I'm not saying it's 2008 again, but back when 08, when everything was, nobody was buying either, and inventory was hitting the market, for every one house that we bought back then, I wish we bought 100.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think these are what we're seeing now, especially now that we live in South Florida. These opportunities are happening. It's been creative finance has been easier to me now than ever, because people are just like, yeah, it's been on the market for a year. It's not selling. I can't lower my price anymore because I owe too much. And then we find out they have a 2.25 interest rate. And I'm like, there's the magic. There's the value of the deal. House is beautiful, but the true value is that interest rate. And if I can buy that without coming up with the 20% down, our topic for today, and I'm paying just some thousands in closing costs, and I own a house, sign me up.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like, so in order to get those properties, you got to have the generation of your leads, right? And whatever way that looks like, guys, like there are so many ways to get leads. And once you have a full-fledged real estate investing business and you scale, yeah, you're going to have to spend some money. But in the very beginning, that's why Joe and I are so passionate. Like, go use Facebook, like post on your Facebook page. If you're watching on our Facebook page now, then, take a few minutes and go join those groups in the areas that you're looking to invest. Use our strategy, post on your personal page, like go open your eyes to all the areas around you too. If you want to invest in your own backyard, drive for dollars. When you're on a walk, like take a different route. You just never know like what's right in front of you when you really start putting your mind to it. And then stay organized. When you start having these conversations with people, like keep them organized somehow, even if it's an old school paper, notebook that's how you're working, like do that, or your Google Calendar, or stop making excuses. My whole point here is like, there's a million ways to do all of this, but if you don't pick one and stick with it, then it's never going to happen. So 20% down, that's going to take you years. If you are focusing on off-market properties and asking sellers the right questions and following up with them and seeing if you can help them and getting yourself in the right communities, surrounding yourself with people who are actually doing this, asking the right questions, that's how it gets done.
Yeah. And if you're looking at Zillow for your next deal, there's Zillow is just, to me, it's a graveyard of deals. I mean, there's just not a lot of great deals on there. Many of them are just sitting for so long. You can find deals there. Don't get me wrong. You can find a scrap of bread in a dumpster. It's still there, right? But the best deals, the very best deals are off market. They're direct to seller. They're off market, no agents involved. And when you're able to post make your posts into Facebook groups for free. So if I'm going to be targeting Columbus, Ohio, I could join groups in Columbus, Ohio. I can make a post in Facebook groups that are local to Columbus, Ohio.
While living in Florida.
While living anywhere. You could even be on the other side of the world. Doesn't matter. But does anybody have a house for sale that's not market ready? I'm looking to buy one in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I make the background like a blue color or a pink color, and I hit submit. I put those into 5 different Columbus groups in one day. And if you do that same post into 5 different Columbus groups in one day, and then you do that 5 days a week, and then you do that for a month straight, you're going to have more incoming leads for free than most likely you can handle. And then after you get these incoming leads, now you got to have the conversations, sift the most motivated leads to the front and center. All the unmotivated, put them in the back burner and maybe follow up with them later on. But I'm not looking to bother somebody. I'm not looking to, well, just give me your best number. I'm in no hurry to sell. Well, I'm in no hurry to buy, right? Mm-hmm. But the ones who are like, they actually have an issue going on, a real estate problem. I'm moving for one reason or another, or all these things are happening. Those are your deals. That's where the best deals are happening.
Yeah. I love that. And, time and circumstance does change things. And, like the seller, Melissa, you said, you're just talking to her, it very well might be a little bit of time before she says yes, or it may not work out, right? But the point is, like, you want to be there for your seller no matter what happens. And so following up, checking in, caring about a person, it goes a really far way. And like, life is tough for a lot of people. And these are just a couple examples of stories. We've helped so many sellers in just crazy situations or just like they're done with the house, they're ready to move, and they're open to these conversations about creative. It's nothing to be scared of. It's definitely something to be educated really well about. I think that once you know better and you know how to explain things well, that'll be helpful. And we've got you covered too. So if there's more that you want to learn about, then by all means hit us up over at creativefinanceplaybook.com. We have live sessions. The next one that we have scheduled is October 17th. So if you're catching the replay here, make sure you head over there, sign up for the next live workshop where we go into depth even more with you guys. And we just want to let you know that you don't have to go to the banks to buy real estate and put 20% down and save and save and save, when you could literally be stacking houses, however many you want. How quickly you can move is up to you. How much time are you going to put into this business? The results speak for themselves, but you don't have to have piles of cash or borrow all of the money at high interest rates from the banks.
And why would you want to when there are other methods? And I remember I was real estate investing for 15 years before I found out this was even a thing. When I found out about this method 10 years ago, the fire just lit inside of me that I now saw what the future could be. That we were scaling so slowly in the beginning, one deal every year, or sometimes it was one deal every other year. And then when I saw how fast we can scale doing this, I remember telling you, and I know your head was spinning in the beginning. So if some of your heads are spinning, it's okay.
Because none of it made sense. And I was like, you're crazy. Like, it's your thing. So if you're feeling that, I get you, but just give it some time. Learn it, like absorb it, sit with it, listen over and over again, get around the people that are doing these deals, sit in on the conversations, listen to the podcast, because when we got started, there wasn't all that we've got going on today. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's way better now. So make sure you continue to tune in every Wednesdays. We go live wherever it's going to stream. I don't know yet, but it's going to be streaming.
We'll get there. And so we are rooting for you. If you've got questions, reach out. creativefinanceplaybook.com is the best way to reach us. And I hope you guys are having a great week. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.